Psychology has shown us for a very long time that mental strength is not what most people imagine it to be. When the average person pictures someone who is mentally strong, they picture someone loud and commanding. Someone who walks into a room and immediately takes control. Someone who never shows doubt and always appears completely certain of themselves. But that picture is almost entirely wrong. Real mental strength does not announce itself. It does not perform for an audience. In many cases, it appears quiet, steady, and almost invisible to the people around it. Mentally strong people do not just handle pressure when it arrives. They think differently under it. They process it differently. They respond to it differently. And most of the time, nobody around them even notices how much work is happening on the inside. So let us talk about 5 signs that you may be far more mentally strong than you have ever given yourself credit for. The first sign is that you stay calm under pressure. This does not mean you do not feel stress. It does not mean difficult situations do not affect you. It means that when pressure arrives, your first response is to pause rather than react. While the people around you are responding emotionally and often impulsively, you are creating a small but powerful space between what is happening and how you choose to respond to it. Psychology connects this ability directly to something called emotional regulation. That is the capacity to manage what is happening inside you without allowing it to completely take over your behavior. You feel the weight of the pressure. You are fully aware of it. But you do not become it. You do not let it make your decisions for you. And that gap between feeling something and acting on it is one of the most important things a human mind can develop. The second sign is that you accept reality quickly. This is one that many people misunderstand. Accepting reality does not mean you are giving up or that you are fine with something that went wrong. It means you do not waste precious mental and emotional energy fighting against something that has already happened and cannot be changed. Mentally strong people look at a difficult situation and acknowledge it for exactly what it is. They do not avoid it. They do not pretend it is smaller than it really is. And they do not spend days or weeks in denial before they are finally willing to face it. Psychology shows that this kind of honest acceptance actually reduces what is called cognitive resistance. When the brain stops fighting against a reality it cannot change, it frees up enormous amounts of energy that can then be redirected toward actual problem solving. You stop arguing with what is true, and you start figuring out what comes next. The third sign is that you take responsibility for your own actions. This is perhaps one of the most uncomfortable signs on this entire list. Because taking real responsibility requires a level of honesty that most people genuinely struggle with. It is always easier to point outward. It is always easier to find a reason why someone else or something else is responsible for how things turned out. But mentally strong individuals have developed the habit of looking inward first. They ask themselves what role they played. They ask what they could have done differently. And they do this not to punish themselves or to drown in guilt, but because they understand that honest self-reflection is the only real path toward doing better. Psychology connects this directly to something called an internal locus of control. That is the deep belief that your choices and your actions genuinely influence what happens in your life. And people who carry that belief take ownership of their outcomes because they understand that ownership is what gives them actual power to change things. The fourth sign is that you can sit with discomfort. This one is rarer than most people realize. The world today is designed to help people escape discomfort as quickly as possible. The moment boredom arrives there is a phone to pick up. The moment anxiety creeps in there is something to watch or scroll through. The moment uncertainty feels heavy there is a distraction waiting right around the corner. But mentally strong individuals have developed something very different. They have built the ability to simply sit with discomfort without immediately running from it. Whether it is boredom, emotional pain, stress, grief, or the deep uneasiness of not knowing how something will turn out, they stay present with it. They do not pretend it feels good, but they do not collapse under it either. Psychology shows clearly that this ability to tolerate discomfort without escaping it is one of the primary ways that genuine resilience is built over time. Every moment you endure something uncomfortable without running away, you are quietly teaching your mind that it can handle more than it thought it could. The fifth sign is that you keep moving forward without needing external validation. This one is deeply connected to identity. Most people, without even realizing it, rely heavily on the approval and recognition of others to keep themselves motivated. They need someone to notice their effort. They need praise to feel like the work is worth continuing. They need acknowledgement to feel like they are on the right path. But mentally strong individuals have developed what psychology calls intrinsic motivation. That is the ability to be driven by something internal rather than external. They keep going when nobody is watching. They keep putting in the work when nobody is cheering for them. They continue moving forward even during the long and quiet stretches where there is no applause and no recognition and no one telling them that they are doing a good job. Their progress is anchored to their own internal values and goals rather than to the opinions of the people around them. Psychology makes one thing absolutely clear about all of this. Mental strength is not about appearing strong in front of other people. It is not a performance. It is not a mask you wear to make others believe you are unbreakable. It is about how you actually think when things get hard. It is about how you respond when the pressure is real and the stakes are high and nobody is watching how you handle it. Staying calm, accepting reality, taking honest responsibility, enduring discomfort, and moving forward without needing validation. These are not loud or dramatic traits. You will not always see them on the surface, but they are among the most powerful qualities a human being can carry, because real mental strength is not revealed in the easy moments. It is revealed in the difficult ones. It shows up in the quiet moments when everything feels heavy and uncertain, and you choose to keep going anyway. And there is something even deeper worth understanding about mental strength that most conversations never get to. The brain is not naturally wired for strength. It is wired for survival, and survival often means avoiding anything that feels threatening or uncomfortable. This means that every single time a mentally strong person pauses instead of reacts, accepts instead of denies, or pushes forward instead of retreating, they are actually working against a very deeply wired instinct. They are choosing a harder path on purpose. And they do this not because it is easy, but because somewhere along the way they learn something that most people never fully absorb. Short-term comfort almost always comes at the cost of long-term growth. Every difficult emotion you avoid becomes a wall. Every responsibility you deflect becomes a blind spot. Every moment of discomfort you escape becomes a ceiling on how far you can actually go. There is also something important to understand about where mental strength actually comes from. A lot of people believe it is something you are either born with or you are not. They look at someone who handles pressure gracefully and assume that person has always been that way. But psychology tells a very different story. Mental strength is almost never the result of easy circumstances. It is almost always the result of difficult ones that were faced honestly rather than avoided. The people who are genuinely mentally strong today are often the people who went through something hard and chose not to let it break them permanently. They bent. They struggled. They had moments of doubt and exhaustion and uncertainty. But they kept showing up. And every time they showed up when it would have been easier not to, they became a little more of what they are today. Mental strength is not something you are given. It is something you build, quietly and consistently, one hard moment at a time.